everyone, welcome back to another video. There are a few questions which have come up in my comment section, various social media platforms. So let us go through them one to one. What to do when there is a payment made to a sanctioned country? So first of all, there cannot be a payment made to a sanctioned country uh, because that would get detected in prepayment screening stages itself. So in anti-money laundering, of course, there is a delay between the actual payment and when the payments come to you for investigation. So it is not possible that you see a payment made to a sanctioned country. There are actually many controls in place. So if at all there is a payment made to a sanctioned country, your bank can lose its license. Yeah, and your bank could be fined millions of billions of pounds. So it is highly impossible to see a payment made to a sanctioned country in the post-transaction monitoring world. What is market abuse? Market abuse is a very broad term under which a lot of things come into picture. Let us take example of first copy clothing. Okay, so for example, Gucci is the original manufacturer, and you see first copy and second copies of the same product. So how is it market abuse? Because the customers are purchasing fake or counterfeit goods, and the victim becomes the company because their revenues go down, and also the reputation is at stake because the first copy or second copy are not of the high quality standards which the original manufacturers maintain. So all this comes under market abuse. Just an example to explain you. What is a mortgage shortfall? A mortgage shortfall is generally where the bank has given you a mortgage to purchase a house, and when you're not able to pay back the EMIs, and the house is taken over by the bank, and when they sell the house, they are not getting the actual value of the house, and they have to write off the rest of the amount as bad debt. So that is nothing but mortgage shortfall. So how is it generally done? Is that when the fraudster is taking a mortgage, he will obviously increase the price of the property. For example, the property is $500,000. He'll have an agreement with the seller that please quote $1 million in the contract. Yeah. So obviously that $1 million is only on the paper, right? The actual market value is 500,000. So the fraudster takes a loan of 1 million US dollars, and then he'll stop paying the installments. When the bank recovers the property and sells it, there is a shortfall of $500,000. So obviously that will be written off to bad debt. So that is called as a mortgage shortfall. Are the auction firms regulated? How can you detect money laundering in these businesses? It's a very good question, actually. Now, see, it's very difficult to trace money laundering in a auctioneer's account, especially if there are world-renowned auctioneers like you have Christie's, Sotheby's, and Bonhams. I think these are the three world-renowned auction firms. See, they have their own uh, due diligence checks and their own vigilance team, which maintain a strong knowledge of who their customers are. Okay, and also there's a very strong documentation which is done, and also there's a specialized team which find out the history of the article which is being auctioned. So there are certain restrictions, but those are local restrictions. So generally, what you get to see in an art and antique dealer. So, for example, let us take there's a gun which is supposed to be auctioned. So there will be a regulation that guns which are manufactured before so and so years cannot be considered as antiques, and the guns which are manufactured post so and so year will not be considered antiques. They will be actually considered as a live round of ammunition. So there are a lot of regulations. So similarly, if you are dealing with precious metals like gold, silver, and other precious metals, and also gemstones, so they have their own local regulations into picture. Now, the problem the banks face and also the auctioneers face is that the majority of the individuals who purchase, the antiques at an auction, they would like to keep their identity as anonymous. So there, it's very difficult. The bank, for the authorities, or also the auction firms to maintain clarity. Yeah, that is the reason they have these auction firms have their own due diligence. They know their own audit team. Obviously, whenever there's a large money at stake, and these are large businesses, they obviously have things in place so that their businesses run legally. So that is the answer for your question. So there's another question. I think this is connected to the first question in relation to sanctions. Have there been any emergency scenarios where there's a payment made or received from a sanctioned country? Yes, there have been exceptional situations, mainly medical purposes. So during the COVID situation, there were a lot of sanctioned countries which wanted the a vaccination to be imported to them, and obviously the mode of payment was bank to bank transaction, but these were approved at a very high level. Yeah. After considering the medical factor, that is when these were approved. What is a non-customer? That's a very good question, actually. So the word itself is non-customer. So when it's not a customer, then how can the bank call it a non-customer? That's a very valid question. So this scenario happens in correspondent banking, and there are bank-to-bank transactions, and there are various banks involved. And in that scenario, 99% of the times, it so happens that the customer is not banking with you; it's banking with some other bank, but your bank has facilitated the transaction from point A to point B. Yeah. So yes, a non-customer is where there is a transaction which is passed through your bank account, mainly correspondent banking account, but the customer does not belong to is banking with some other bank. So that is what you call a non-customer. If you are interested to join online classes in AML, then you can either WhatsApp me or give me a call on the number which is displayed there. Hope you like the video. Please like, share, follow, subscribe on various platforms. That's it for today. Until next time, see you. Bye.